regular pick that he wants to go back onto.
Yeah, it's that...
which is what is kind of... This is the composition I'm talking about
It's
now.
that kind of cascade effect. In any case, XQQ on that Pharah, we'll see if the adaptation comes through. I mean, really, the way to deal with this is going to be for Flash Wolves to gun for that point and kind of take XQQ out of the picture, but losing Zonda kind of hurts their chances for that. Good trades coming back. In the opening skirmish, neither here nor there just yet, but the longer it sits on this point, the better it should go for Flash Wolves, purely because it keeps XQQ out of the picture.
Wow, Odin Kun,
but
okay.
no such luck. Odin Kun putting on his carry pants and taking a walk downtown.
Someone's got to wear them.
Someone indeed. Who wears the carry pants in your team relationship?
Yeah. Odin Kun...
Is it your son or your sister?
For someone... Wow.
I just completely threw you off, didn't I?
when that hit me, I was like, oh, I got what you said there. Anyway, for Odin Kun, you know, he's still... I don't know, that was a pretty important performance, but I want to see if he can continue doing that, because if he can, suddenly it turns around everything we've just talked about. Odin Kun not having chops to be a flex DPS. Maybe he can be after all.
Yeah, well, in any case, well kind of pulled back by Flash Wolves, coming in for the second one, and a great opening out of Bacon Jack. And now, like I said, they're in that position that takes XQQ out of the picture, so this time it is actually going to favor them properly. I feel like it should have last time, but SunSister, to their credit, did actually just kind of play the fight well. Good frags, but this time around, Flash Wolves, with the positional advantage, do execute on it. And now XQQ kind of wants to change off that Pharah, or they're going to end up in the same position again. But like you said, it means Odin has to swap too.
To be honest, the swap they may look to make is Night Owl onto the Mercy, had XQQ decide to stay on the Pharah. But a Genji here is probably going to work as well. I'm just really glad we're not seeing something really left field here. Very standard still composition out of SunSister. Yeah, they need to be able to leverage the ults they've got, and they're getting picked off.
Yeah, this fight has already gone the way of Flash Wolves, just because they're trying to draw ultimates out of Flash Wolves here, SunSister, but they're not even finding the right kind of position to do that. They're not even forcing out defensive ultimates.
SunSister really, you know, 40% gone already. They've got an even amount of progress, so they've got decent sort of position to work with here. They just have to finally be proactive and actually initiate what they've got on the table.
Well, I mean, here they go. I went right in with Zetman. They've already forced out the Transcendence from Realman. Picking off Zonda is very big for them, and Odin Kun opening up as well with this tag visor to get even more. Their own sound barrier running. They aren't quite closing it out just yet, and Flash Wolves do still have some ultimates to turn it around, and here they go, starting to get the kills now as they force SunSister onto the retreat. XQQ kind of stuck in a Winston 1v1. He is going to get out of that, but it is a retreat, you know, so it doesn't matter that he got out with his life because they didn't get the point, and they kind of, having banked up a few ultimates, just kind of used them all up. Now, they're still at a semi-even spot, but they are still the aggressor.
That was a difficult position for SunSister because they had the early start. Odin Kun picks up a double kill with the tag visor, and then they couldn't clean it up.
Not ideal at all. Now
right now,
XQQ,
XQQ swinging to mid-air.
Yeah, to absolutely nothing, because he had to stay clear of that self-destruct, ended up exposing himself to it anyway, and Zonda with that tactical visor had already opened them out, so that is just a cleaning, pure secure from Flash Wolves. And I mean, after that first fight went the way of SunSister, which was really just, like I said, out fragging Flash Wolves from that point on, expected and clean, and, you know, credit where it's due. Just good play.
Yeah, I think the only holds that we can sort of pick out here, or really where we can applaud SunSister, is if anyone managed to get a decent number of kills there for impact, it was actually Odin Kun. Yeah. So his Soldier now really being able to fit into the mold, and I think there has been some difficulty in SunSister in deciding, look, where do some of these guys sit? Night Owl, he's now support. Do we want him a Tracer anymore? Currently, no, because Mollis is doing a great job on Tracer. Where does Odin Kun sit? Is he going to be a tank or a DPS? And currently, on a Soldier, he is starting to perform. So maybe SunSister, although not winning, have found a groove.
Maybe this is their ticket to triple DPS. You're dead right. And running Zetman on this Winston is continuing to work for them. And also, you know, them getting those frags, you can't call that a weakness on Flash Wolves' part. Like, that can just happen sometimes. So let's see if they can continue this one. No such luck this time. Great movement out of Flash Wolves. So aggressive out of Jongi and Zonda. This sort of these dive buddies here, and K-Momo closing out the rest on the back side of this one. Interesting though that actually we've got Zonda on Genji and K-Momo on Soldier, by the way.
Yeah, I would have preferred the other way around, but this is it. We did say, like I said, I wanted to see if Flash Wolves could pull out something triple DPS and test it out, really go the distance with it to find out if it works or not. And not only are they doing that, they're actually going to give K-Momo another chance into Soldier to really see, look, can you get this done against SunSister? Because if you can't get it done against SunSister, we're not going to be able to perform this against any better teams.
Yeah, they're really seeing how far their current flexibility can go, and I do very much like that. It's hard to get much of a stat from it because, I mean, to be frank, this is SunSister that they're playing against, currently bottom of the table.
We were watching the wrong Genji.
Yeah, but it's working, so that's all that you can really say for it. Yeah, we were watching the wrong Genji for a moment there. Should have been watching K-Momo's Genji.
No, well, as in Zonda just went absolutely large there, but you know, and this is the thing, Zonda just happens to be, except for Tracer, the best DPS on basically every other hero on the team. Best McCree, best Genji, best Soldier, and it's a tough position, specifically for K-Momo, to sort of reach. It's a standard set so high that K-Momo will just look weaker than Zonda in all respects.
Great sticky by Bacon Jack.
As expected as well.
It feels like they're kind of rotating. They're rotating between their 3 carries. Like, all right, who's going to carry this fight? And that time around, it was Bacon Jack.
Yeah, you wear the pants, you unpants yourself real quick and chuck to the next fight.
It's the SunSisterhood of the traveling carry pants. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite work though, because it's Splash Wolves doing it, not SunSister. And this time around, heck, even Realman's going to try them on for size. They're a little bit too, they're a bit too baggy on them, so he hands them over to Zhongi, tighter fit on him, but even so, not quite right, so they hand them back to K-Momo, who's going to look to close this one out with this tack visor.
Well, just pick one up in the end as well. The combo between Zhongi and Zonda, I'm really appreciating as well.
There's pants for everyone in this game.
You need more pants. How many people can you fit the whole team into one pair of pants?
How many pants do you have? That's the thing.
Or just one big pair of pants. I was gonna say, so the 1-2 punch combo of Zhongi and Zonda.
1-2 pants combo.
Punch, I said.
I know, but I couldn't help but hear that as pants.
You need to get your mind out of the pants right now. It's really effective because Zhongi goes in with pretty much like a left jab, and then Zonda is your right hook, and he really secures the initiation power for Flash Wolves. We saw that right at the start of Control Center. And 2 of the players, I can't remember who exactly on SunSister got caught out, might have been XQQ as one of them, but immediately found out by Zhongi and Zonda and immediately landed upon and executed in quick succession. So these 2 together have been doing really great. This can't be a real Widowmaker pick for Komo, sure.
I don't know, man. Maybe they're looking for something real spicy here. They are! Oh man, they're pulling out the full habanero here. Let's see how this one works out for them. Opening skirmish. Hey, it's already working because that's a quick pick on XQQ. You'd call that mileage and call it a day as well. It's effectively a 5v5, so it is a little tricky for Flash Wolves to get set up on the point, but they're taking the positional advantage out of it, and picking Zetman as well means they are going to get this point. Just off the back of that one pick on Widowmaker, they got the space, took advantage of it. This is really clean.
This is now also SunSister. While I do like the composition, it does restrict them. They can no longer play triple DPS because it would require 2 members to swap off their current heroes for them to achieve that. At the same time, Odin Kun and the Diva may be exactly what you need to actually pressure out K-Momo.
Maybe. I mean, hopefully, sure, but Zonda is still just keeping this team at bay. And normally it wouldn't even be Zonda, right? Normally this is Bacon Jack's job, but Zonda is getting enough damage in, and they're getting enough preliminary poke in as well as SunSister are trying to get into position. That Zonda is cleaning up, right? If you look at the kill feed, how it's going, he's mainly getting it with Swift Strike. Right? It's not like he's ulting, it's not like he's just shooting at them. He's getting it with Swift Strike, getting resets, using the mobility, and that's because SunSister are getting poked out. This is so clean by Flash Wolves. They're not giving SunSister any room to breathe.
Which is kind of why K-Momo will get away with playing Widowmaker here. You're absolutely saying that the Swift Strikes are kind of that's been the tool for Zonda primarily, and it's to the point where maybe he doesn't need a Dragon Blade here unless he just wants to have some fun.
He wants to have some fun. He does. He absolutely does. And as it turns out, SunSister kind of caught with their pants down on that one.
Well, maybe they need to pass it on to a different player.
Well, they got the point. But okay, it turns out Flash Wolves are the ones caught with their pants down because they kind of forgot to stand on the point that they just so have adequately secured. But now they're going to realize, oh, whoops, and go ahead, fight on the point. Do it the normal way, and got a little bit spooky for a moment there, but Flash Wolves are actually a little bit behind in this fight. They still have enough to go on here, and I mean, they seem to be willing to just drag this one out. I like to swap off that Widowmaker. They've realized now they need something that can really attack onto this point. SunSister are actually going to get an opportunity to defend here.
It's actually, it's like SunSister figured it out. Hey, how can we deny sight angles off a Widowmaker? I don't know, maybe fight on the point where Widowmaker can't really get lines on you. And Widowmaker also can't brawl on the point, so there you go, there's the answer.
Doesn't work against Soldier though, because he's got you in his sights no matter where you are. And wow, that's really big start actually out of SunSister. That was just a quick set of kills there. The groundwork was done with how Flash Wolves were trying to attack the point. I do like SunSister's defense here, sorry. But this is really just Flash Wolves trying to draw out ultimates from SunSister, charge some of their own. They've still got plenty of time.
It doesn't look like that. It looks like they're feeding, to be honest. The SunSister have already stopped using ultimates. Flash Wolves are still giving away members. Now they've decided it is the time to regroup and, hey, can we get the point back? Because you're still trying to win here, right, Flash Wolves?
I don't know. I think they're just trying on different pairs of pants now.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you get caught with your pants down, maybe that's the case. So a good stick again.
There we go. That's so huge. I mean,
Mollis, we talked about Bacon Jack with good sticks, but Mollis as well has got good sticks.
He did get Zetman off the top of that though, and that could be all they need for this fight. Flash Wolves, they're trying to keep this one alive now. It's a bit of a tricky one for them, but they do seem to have the positional advantage just because they kind of forced SunSister out into the open. SunSister, it was working when they were fighting in these tight and close spaces, and they just kind of played into Flash Wolves' hands. So who's feeding who now? The Pants are back on, and big strides being taken for Flash Wolves, even as SunSister close themselves out to 96%. But all SunSister need to do is 1-1 fight.
Which is not impossible. It would take Flash Wolves to do something really unconventional, and for them to kind
like
of
wear
give
their
it
pants
away.
on their head.
Not incorrect.
That would be unconventional.
Not incorrect.
I mean, if you saw someone in the street doing that, you'd go, my goodness, that's unconventional.
Well, as long as they were still wearing pants on their
yeah, no shirt, no shoes.
Regular place.
Here we go, though. That's, well, I don't need to tell you what happened, folks. Flash Wolves, again, with these aggressive, proactive players. I mean, this is what was working for them earlier on. I feel like they maybe actually just had a bit of a hiccup in the middle point there, but it was just quick, aggressive plays, and well, it worked to charm. SunSister not going to get an opportunity to put their panted legs onto this point. Yeah, 99, going to buy a moment of overtime, and again, they're going to try and force the fight onto the point, but Flash Wolves coming in with guns blazing and swords swinging. Easy closeout for them, and that's how you do it, Flash Wolves, when you've got the ultimate advantage. You don't commit early, you wait for them to overcommit, then you use your advantage, then you swing it, you close down the overtime, you win at 3-0, and you prove who really wears the pants in this matchup.
Sword swinging, sounds blasting,
Sounds
balls
blasting, yeah.
throwing,
Orbs throwing. Orbs. Come on, man. Orbs throwing. And gorilla arms swinging.
Gorilla arms swinging.
No, because we've already had... There's already sword swinging. So it's like gorilla arms... Well, I guess you could do sword slashing and gorilla arms swinging.
Yeah, that's good. I like that better.
Speaking of sword slashing...
We do get to see the majority of the play from Zonda that we missed out on, so that was really good.
Yeah,
And just it's a Zonda.
The original
Zonda moment.
Yeah, the original pants play. That was the one that started it all.
the first movie. I don't know.
The first... the origin of the
sequels.
X-Men Origins.
So here's the thing is, I'm going to talk about night markets in particular here, because this is where SunSister, I feel, had a couple of moments where they were on a bit of a roll. I don't know, that was also because Flash Wolves kind of gave away a bit. But Flash Wolves started things off unconventionally with the Widowmaker. It was a little bit of, yeah, we want to test things out. Also a little bit of how much can we get away with. And I'm glad for SunSister's sake, they were able to actually play around that, find a weakness, exploit it, force Flash Wolves onto the back foot, even if only momentarily, but at least be able to do that, because the alternative would have been K-Moment just gets away with Widowmaker for the entire map, and it's a bit of a whitewash.
It would have been embarrassing. Like, let's be honest. Even when you are SunSister and you're bottom of the table and you're up against Flash Wolves, who are a top 3 team, it's still embarrassing to get totally shut out by a Widowmaker. So I agree with you. I like that they did actually find a way to get it. And their initial in wasn't because Flash Wolves made mistakes, right? After that first fight loss, they had a bit, like, they had a run of sloppy plays and kills kind of being given up where maybe they shouldn't have been, etc., etc. And then they did come back and secure it, because at the end of the day, they are kind of the better of these two teams, let's be totally frank. But credit where credit is due. SunSister winning that fight is actually quite crucial for them. Combined with what we saw out of Odenkirk on Night Market, we were talking at the top of this matchup about not necessarily problems with flexibility, but potential flaws But it seems that they've overcome them. It seems that they've overcome them here. Maybe it's not going to be enough to beat Flash Wolves, but Flash Wolves aren't the team that SunSister are looking to beat right now. I mean, SunSister will be pleased to beat a team like Fireball or Matchy. That's what they want to use those successes on.
Well, really, SunSister are gearing up for their match against Detonator later on in the week, and I think that's going to be, I believe it's the first match of Sunday, which is going to be quite exciting because both of these teams desperately need the win, particularly for SunSister because still currently at this point on 0 and very likely to be finishing the night still on 0, especially based on what we just saw then.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, technically they could make top 3 if they win from the top of the third round robin, if they win every single match and one of the teams in the top 3 loses every single game they play. That is super unlikely though. Let's be honest there. But
alternate universe though.
In an alternate universe where SunSister are good. But you're right, SunSister, that's the match they're preparing for. It kind of was, I'm really sorry. I mean, they're such a nice team.
You could have said that in such a nice way.
The power of friendship.
You want to like them, you want to I do, I like them.
But in that alternate universe, it's actually like the power of hatred. And they're just like burning with rage. Like they all wear the orange jacket except for Night Owl, he wears the white one.
That's what a team of 6 Zonders looks like.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. The power of hatred. Just pure frothing rage. I don't know.
Everyone plays Winston.
We're making it out like Zonder is this really angry.
No, he's not. But he is a very competitive guy, which makes it difficult to have two of them on the team. And there have been interviews where he basically says, "Look, I don't even main call anymore because he does put a lot of pressure on the rest of the teammates when he does that." So but credit to the guy, he's an amazing player. So
and
you'll
has
let that
the
slide.
self-awareness as well. Has the self-awareness to go, look, I'm gonna let it go to my head if I'm in charge. Like I'm gonna actually cause more problems than I will solve here. I will hinder more than I help if I'm shot caller. Even if I'm right, it's gonna be done in the wrong way. So you've actually got to really give big props to the guy there. I mean, that's a mark of not just maturity but sensible team dynamics. And you wonder how much of that could even be chalked up to Flash Wolves having the support staff, because that's where things like sports psychologists come in handy, right? And those are, for what it's worth, things that teams like SunSister don't have. In fact, a lot of teams in this tournament don't really have that sort of part of the support staff. So next pick, SunSister going ahead onto Kings Row, and they have a Death Wish.
Kind of, but it's. I also like the bravery as well. It's like we will go onto a map where we know.
You know what it's like? You know what this is?
What?
This is like standing in the street in the middle, like on a rainy day, completely naked with a briefcase, and a bus is coming towards you and yelling at the bus, come on, fight me, right? It's a bus. Like,
so
what's your briefcase gonna do?
Yeah, but what's the significance of being both naked and with a briefcase?
You don't have any armor on.
Okay.
Like the naked was more in like an armor sense, not like a clothing. I mean, I can be honest.
Clothing sense. I was like, what is the difference?
Okay.
I don't think you'd be any better with clothing.
Maybe I should have said unarmored, but then you'd be like, who would wear armor in front of a bus? But here's the thing, right? Like, whether you're naked or you're wearing pants, it's a bus. It's still gonna flatten you, right? It's only if you're wearing like, I don't know, an exoskeleton, like some space shades, I don't know, something. If you were Iron Man.
Speaking of buses, though, Kings Row, you will be starting.
There is a bus
straight
away.
Right there.
Yeah,
there's actually a bus in Numbani.
So remember to wear your pants in front of the bus.
And also in Numbani, there's a bus.
Yeah, there's actually a few buses.
I actually want to speak about XQQ briefly because last week.
In Auckland.
Because last week XQQ actually had some moments where I felt like it was undisciplined of him to kind of make oddball switches that are obviously not a planned strategy to say, look, if we pull out a Mei here or whatever other, or even a Widowmaker randomly, this is part of our set strategy where we know we practice. It's just, I'm gonna do what I feel like and my team can just deal with it.
So which is
kind of like what I didn't really like coming out of him, what I didn't agree with either. So I appreciate so far, at least on Lee Jung, we saw very standard picks. We didn't see something oddball come out of him where it was just a solo player mentality, kind of like, I'm going to just do this. And I want to see if he can continue doing that throughout the rest of the Flash Rules match, despite the fact that knowing they will most likely be coming in from behind on the back foot the entire way through.
I was going to say...
And staying composed in that situation is important.
Exactly. It'll be important to do that, especially if they're losing. Because that's often the moment where, especially... I don't want to say, you know, these carry-minded players, because it's not the right way to put it. Like, that makes it seem really selfish. But I mean, when you're XQQ, you're a good player, you're a good carry, and you know it too. It's very, very easy in that situation to go, look, I am going to do what I think gives our team the best shot, and that is leverage me for all my worth. Now, you can understand the mentality, but you're right, it is a single-minded way to play. I won't say selfish, because that makes it out to be really malicious. It is a player doing what they legitimately believe is the best option.
It's not a team decision, I feel.
Yeah, but it's not actually the best option in terms of, you're right, playing as a team, which ultimately is what overcomes the enemy. Now, look, maybe if you go for that solo play
it's the power
thing,
of friendship.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe if you go for that solo play thing, you get a series of dazzling, crazy plays, and you do win it, but it's going to be by fluke. It's going to be a lucky win, and it's going to be a win that isn't going to be what's the word I'm looking for? Representative, there we go, of your overall ability as a team. Playing as a team and losing until you start winning is a much better way to play.
And that's kind of what I want to see out of SunSister as well, to see if they can make that progression
Just start seeing the win.
even through the next 2 round robins as well.
All right, well, Bacon Jack.
That boss is just abandoned, by the way.
Bacon Jack going to be coming out on Hanzo here, so he is currently that one guy. And he is going to go ahead and swap off. They've sounded out the enemy team. No lucky picks there, and Zonda getting picked up as well. So they're going to come out with a nicely dive-oriented comp here. And again, I do like the Ana in this comp over the Lucio.
Yeah, especially if you're on defense, I feel like the speed isn't as necessarily required. Not only that, but if you're confident you have 2 targeted healers that are accurate, the AoE healing can be forgone as well. The only thing here is you lose the extra defensive capability from Sound Barrier, and you trade it off for more offensive capability and the Nano Boost.
Yeah, and the reason I like it actually is partly because of the Diva synergy, and the other thing is on this offense, where sometimes you do want to go for a more aggressive play when you don't want to have to play slow if you get the positional advantage, Ana lets you do it, and exactly that. They found the opening, they went for it. They didn't have to back off and wait for Zenyatta to put his orb on one person after the other. They didn't have to sacrifice Lucio's movement to give themselves healing. They had the tools at their disposal to take that window and run with it. And I like the Ana for that reason here.
And Bacon Jack going back onto the Hanzo now as well, so...
Why not?
It's not really... You can't even call this oddball, because Hanzo at a point, and even still now, there is an argument for Hanzo, because, you know, the narrow spaces, you do get the opportunity to get some very interesting Dragon Strikes that can give you a lot of room to work with.
Yeah, exactly. Already though...
That is a quick 2 pick up.
Yeah, I like the commitment there. And again, in a way, this is actually some mileage that you get out of having Ana over Lucio, because they saw the opportunity, the positional opportunity to go for that Nano Blade play, went for it straight away, and that was a really simple looking cleanup.
I don't know, I like to see if SunSister can really form up a good defense here. The Flash was even checking the spawn rooms, which is strange because they're not spawning out of there anymore, and maybe they're just checking in case SunSister want to cheese them.
Wow, and again, taking advantage of SunSister trying to get into position. They're not even giving them that kind of space here, and already getting both of the tanks out of the picture leaves the DPS totally exposed. Mollis out of the picture already, and SunSister aren't even able to charge up ultimates. Like, this isn't even close to even right now.
Yeah, this is now Flashwolves coming up with their 2nd round of ultimates, SunSister on their 1st. But what it does mean is that SunSister are going to be in a position where they can even themselves out against Flashwolves, at least for the time being. And the 3rd checkpoint is naturally where the defense will get their opportunity to
it is the place
actually bunker up. This is where they can stabilize. And they should, and that's going to be a big test for SunSister to see if they can stabilize.
Yeah, if they fail to, that bodes very poorly, but already losing Mollis and Elu as well somehow waded into that Dragon Strike. They might not even get that opportunity, like we were just saying. if they do get these respawns in, which they should, again, they really have to find a place to stop this up. Otherwise, it speaks terribly of their ability as a team to even stop up the other lower teams in this tournament right now, throwing out the ultimate already from the D.Va, but Flash Wolves are well set up on this one to kind of cut off SunSister
Random
at
headshot.
the neck. Yeah, this is a really nice one here out of Flash Wolves. They position themselves nicely such that they could take SunSister by surprise, and once again, SunSister totally unable, even when they did have a bit of ultimate advantage, cannot at all find a defense. I don't think there was any point there where they were really giving Flash Wolves a run forward. Not even their money, just like their library card.
Their library, I don't even know. What I find interesting is SunSister's inability there to come out even when they had the ultimate advantage. So 5 ultimates they had versus, what, 3 maybe? At best, from coming up from Flash Wolves, in a position where defense respawn location is incredibly favorable. Reinforcements, very close as well, so if at any point SunSister was going to stabilize the hold, that should have been the position, but I think they kind of let that one go again. It was a bit of a unfortunate place for SunSister to end up.
You know what SunSister remind me of? Remind me of Joey from Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, he lost a lot, but he had friends. Kaiba, he didn't have friends.
That's true.
He had a brother.
Zonda does remind me like a bit of a Kaiba. He's a very competitive guy that kind of might be a little bit off-putting, but you know, he wins, so it's hard to complain.
All about that winning.
I mean, you've got to make sure. What I really want to see out of SunSister is, I want to see SunSister pull out that Boston accent.
It's Brooklyn.
It's a Brooklyn accent. It's a Brooklyn accent.
It's a Brooklyn accent. It's a Brooklyn accent. Yeah.
It's not like accent?
No, it's not like Boston. Boston is Scout from TF2.
Is that not what Joey? That is what Joey sounds like?
No, he's from Brooklyn.
Yes, he does. He sounds like Scout from TF2.
No, he doesn't.
I played TF2.
He does not sound like Scout. You're thinking of Joey from like Yu-Gi-Oh! The Abridged series.
Oh yeah.
Like.
It's true.
In any case, but like, he's Brooklyn. Scout's Boston.
Let me spell out Flash Wolves right now. H-U-B-R-I-S. H-U-B-R-I-S. Because they're bringing out the hubris play.
You know what? Shut your face. I like Orisa. I'm excited to see this, right? Orisa is the defensive Reinhardt. I've waited for teams to figure this out. Look, maybe this is Flash Wolves going, look, if like SunSister is the team to try it out against, because even if it doesn't go optimally, we can still win with it. I can't disagree with that. I want to see if this can work. And if it does, I then want to see them pull it out against other teams.
From an entertainment perspective, I'll agree.
I think they have the wrong healer setup for it, personally.
As the expert on Orisa play, this is not optimal.
Well, apparently I'm the only one who has an opinion about Orisa play. I would have liked to see...
My opinion is that there is no Orisa play.
I would have liked to see maybe a Lucio as well with this, but I don't...
Oh, now he wants to see the Lucio.
I can see why they've not got a Lucio, but in any case, it's working. It is working. So far.
It is also Flash Wolves. I mean,
yeah, well, like I said, right? You can, maybe it is hubris and they're being cocky and they're going, well, even if we play this Orisa wrong, we'll probably still win. But if you want to try out Orisa so that you can bring her out later against other teams that you're
actually
a little bit more threatened by, that, what?
This is what I find really interesting is we rarely see Bacon Jack on Soldier. And I think it's important to actually test Bacon Jack on Soldier because he is meant to be traditionally kind of the Soldier player, being that he is also the Tracer. He's the main hit scan of the team. And if Bacon Jack can pull out a successful Soldier, I know it is against SunSister as well, but it's important because that option needs to be on the board for Flash Wolves in the future.
You know, I kind of want to, again, just speak to this Orisa a bit, mainly because we don't see her a whole lot. So what Zonda is doing, for those of you at home who are maybe not so familiar with Orisa and the point of her, Orisa is all about disrupt, and unfortunately just got exploded by Junkrat, but was playing to disrupt purely using that right click, and you can do this on King's Row because of that positioning on the hotel there. You can also sit through and poke the other side with her main fire, and then when they push past that, go in on the other side of that and basically commit to the fight. mess up the enemy team's positioning while they're setting it up using the disrupt on the right click. You can retreat very cleanly with your fortify. You can reposition the shield as necessary to react to whatever push they're going for, unlike Reinhardt, who has to move his whole self physically. So on the whole, this is also a particular part of a particular map where Orisa can really work, and now we'll get to hopefully see the ultimate in action, where when the fight does break out, Zonda can really just pick a line in the sand and commit to it.
Well, thank you very much, and that was Pixie from the Overwatch design team.
Not a hey, it's Jeff from the Overwatch team. But in any case, yeah, look, this is going to be it right here. So the ultimate down, and I think that was actually a nano boost as well, trying to leverage that left click. Didn't get too much for it, but now picking out Zetman. And like I said, this is the disrupt, right? SunSister, they're not able to get into a favorable enough position to fight, and then Flash Wolves are cleaning it up. Even if it's only a couple of picks.
Kind of unexpected. I actually want to see a little bit more Bacon Jack on Soldier. Like, like I mentioned, this is his opportunity to show off his experience and expertise on Soldier. And while it's kind of short-lived, I think it's an important pick that Flash Wolves as a team need to have in their back pocket for future games.
I think XQQ was trying to play Demolition Expert and just kind of destroy that brick wall, but it didn't work. Does pick up Bacon Jack, but having already lost Zetman, again, I don't know that there's much SunSister can do, and they've still got to get past all the disrupt of the Orisa. Trying to get around the backside now as Zonda finally going down off that one, but Flash Wolves had already cleaned up so much of SunSister. This is going to be a first hold, and with an Orisa no less.
And this is the exact opposite of what I described and what I kind of complimented SunSister on Lijiang Tower and Night Market, where it was Flash Wolves coming out with something oddball and unconventional, and potentially even kind of in quite a cocky way, but it was SunSister responding accurately, properly, and playing around it and coming out on top. Now this is the exact opposite, where SunSister, I feel, the biggest loss here was not, the Flash Wolves are just better, and it doesn't matter what they play.
Look at that play. He got both supports with one swing.
Yeah,
it's gross.
That's just on.
I feel bad for having watched that. I need to go see a priest.
That is that moment when Kyber pulls the third blue eyes. Anyway.
My blue eyes.
Anyway, it's going back to SunSister. What I would have preferred is seeing them try and legitimately overcome this oddball cheese defense out of Flash Wolves and just get a win. Like, where you can get a win, you should try and go for the win. And I felt like SunSister, they lost morale-wise. They were defeated on morale, and they kind of gave up and said, look, we're not even going to try and beat this.
I don't disagree with you on that side of things, but I do disagree that it was a cheese defense. Maybe we can call it that, but there is a legitimate strategy at play there, and I also can't fault Flash Wolves for sounding it out in an easier game. Well, I'm gonna be look. This is the bottommost team in the standings, and Flash Wolves, who have at times been the second team in the standings. Currently, they're at third, but potato, potato, right? By the way, who says potato? Anyway, apparently me twice. So, look, I can't fault them for pulling that out, and I won't be so bold as to call it cheesy. I would maybe call it cheesy in another situation if it was like, I don't know, if they were pulling out something like a Junkrat, if they were looking to get like a really corny combination, yeah, maybe cheesy. Like if they were doing like just their entire defense, if their entire defense was just built around getting like a Graviton and Dragon Strike combo between Zarya and what's the guy's name? Hanzo.
That's pretty standard.
But we'd call that cheesy if someone pulled it out in a King's Row defense, right? I like that they're trying this out because also this is the one team that has played Orisa before. They played it on attack on Numbani. This is clearly something they've tried to figure out. This is clearly something they've played in scrims. And I like that they are now having seen if they can work out how it works. They've found somewhere where they think it works. Previously that was Numbani attack. Now it's King's Row defense. And they're going, all right, now let's try that in the quote-unquote real world. Let's try that in an actual competitive game where it's going to mean something. And it did work, right? Maybe it won't work against blank. Maybe it will. We don't know. But it has worked. And maybe this is better than it seems on paper. Maybe they have figured something out.
You might be clutching a bit there because I still think it was SunSister not... They kind of let that one go.
Yeah, SunSister did also not adapt to it. You are completely correct. I'm not going to disagree with you on that point at all.
Yeah, I mean, they had their initial composition. I actually don't think Junkrat is wrong, because Junkrat gives them some good options against the turret from Torbjorn in particular, and an additional opportunity to break through Orissa's bonus shields and whatnot. But it did seem like, from a playstyle perspective, SunSister kind of just saw that and went, well, this game's done, and Flash Wolves aren't really trying anymore. We're not trying anymore, and kind of whatever. So that's kind of what it did seem like to me. And I do wish that SunSister kept their composure and said, cool, you're going to run this, well, we're going to find a way to beat it, and we'll do that.
And we kind of talked...
That I would have been impressed with.
We kind of talked about it after the first game as well. We talked about it in a different context, though. We talked about it in the context of XQQ kind of swapping onto, taking a bit of a solo carry approach, and how that is, a bit of a lack of discipline and all that. But we now saw that rear its ugly head, but in a different form, where... I mean, I'm not going to, again, be so bold to say, it completely fell apart, like the mentality just wasn't there, but it certainly seems like they made some mental slips there, like really, really backslid from the top of the series to where we are now, just in the space of that one game. I can't say that that's exactly the reason why, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's most of the reason why, that they feel all Flash Wolves aren't even trying. Like, we can't even do this, let alone win it legitimately. But even when you are in the most unfavorable situation, even when you are at the lowest point, you must have mental fortitude. It is a totalitarian thing. The moment you give up, even if you can't be blamed for giving up, you're never going to get back on that horse successfully. That, what we just saw there, could have been the death knell for SunSister.
Well, let's hope it's not, because again, Sunday, they will be playing against Detonator, and
that's their day.
And it should be their day.
SunSister day.
It really kind of has to be their day. And what's really interesting is XQQ debuted his first game against Flash Wolves.
And actually looked really good. Let's not forget that, right? When XQQ first came in, first time he played, actually, he was replacing Night Owl. And I'm trying to remember who was...
Kira 44 was
Kira, yeah, that's it. Kira was previously on that team as well now. Still is, by the way, as a sub. But on that very first showing, XQQ really impressed, right? Looked really, really good. And still looks really, really good, but we're also seeing the flaws in him.
And now, it's almost like he came out really hot, and I don't think he's gotten worse. Cool. I just think it's kind of, the surprise factor is gone, particularly for Flash Wolves, particularly, for everyone, basically, now that he's kind of appeared. Yeah. And he showed up. We've seen him, and, the wow is starting to dissipate.
And now he's also a known factor, right? In your very first game, if you do have a good performance, people sort of step back and they're like, oh, whoa, who's that? Whoa. And then they actually give you a lot of attention, they figure you out. And then you're just any other DPS. And that doesn't mean XQQ is bad. It certainly doesn't mean that. It's just the natural way of things, right? You end up normalizing to the level that you're actually going to be at as a DPS, because there's no longer any unknown factors, because the team did play differently when they suddenly brought on XQQ. It was different to before, only slightly different, and now, as it turns out, it's different but not better, but it was different, and that isn't something that teams react to instantly. Now they have reacted. In any case, we're going to see if Flash Wolves are going to close this one out handily, as the series so far would suggest, on Assault in just a few minutes, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
What's in the name? Well, that depends on what you do with it. Put it out there. Level it up. Get good with it. Like, really good. Get it voted for. Get it feared. Get it to the top of the ladder, if you got what it takes. Test it at the Combine. Sign it on a contract. Get it on a team. Get it in a tournament. Get it on a big monthly check. Cash it. Commit to it. Put it on everything. What about this thing? Nah, it's bigger than that. Make your whole city know it. Check that. The whole world. Hear it talked about. See it in the headlines. Then, watch it all come crashing down. Wait. What? Okay. Get it back on the map. get it back on top. Get it as the #1 fantasy draft pick. Bring it to the playoffs. Get it on the back of a champion.
That's your name.
Better yet, become a champion. Hear it on the lips of thousands of screaming fans chanting it over and over and over again. What's in the name? Well, that's up to you.
And a hearty welcome back to you all. Thank you very much for sticking with us. You didn't even have time for 2-minute noodles in that one, so I hope you didn't try and make any, but I don't even know if you'll have time to eat them with the way that this has been going, because we are, of course, mid-series right now between SunSister and Flash Rules. Flash Rules currently a convincing 2-0 up. Avril, what are we expecting out of Assault?
Is Flash Rules pick, is it not? They get... I'm not even have time to guess.
Hey,
Don't
presto.
even have time to guess.
Says Volskaya.
What I want to see from Flash
They're
Rules
not even
is...
giving you time to guess. Like, that's how quick this is going to be.
I want to see if Flash Rules
Wasting your
can
time.
perfect a Sombra defense on that first cap, because they have struggled to really get it done. I'm not going to lie, they're not the only team that's tried it, and of the teams that have tried it, I don't know, Flash Rules are definitely not the most convincing team to have executed that, so
And
that's a goal, that's a milestone
Certainly
to see
would
if they
be.
can hit.
Sinclair tends to be their Sombra player as well, and when
Bacon Jake will be for this one,
yeah,
though.
probably. When we've seen them running Sombra on Anubis, though, when it has actually been Sinclair, they are fairly good with it. But even then, I wouldn't actually say that they're one of the better teams with running that Sombra defense. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it's not. I mean, we've seen AHQ and Machi and Blank, and honestly, sometimes even Hong Kong Attitude pull that off better. Not so much on the most recent matchup just before with Hong Kong Attitude and Flash Rules, but it's a bit of a different story. That was more because of how Flash Rules played the offense, less so about, you know, just the Sombra on defense not executing, right? So it doesn't really matter who runs it. They're not the most consistent team with that Sombra on defense. And you're right, that is actually something they kind of need to crack if they want to be more consistent on Assault against these other top tier teams.
Yeah, and this is now not the time, I feel, for Flash Rules to start bringing out the Orisa defense stuff again. It's now the time where I feel, where are you actually weak towards the upper tier teams, and what do you actually need to clean up? Actually clean that up now against SunSister, because if you can't successfully hold a first cap with Sombra against SunSister, I don't know if you can bring that defense out again against anyone.
I'm also gonna throw it out there, as a guy who has opinions about Orisa, yeah, you're right. Volskaya Industries is not the place to play. So, like, those of you at home, if
As
you're like...
the lead designer of Orisa,
Yeah,
I'm
me
gonna
right
say...
here. Like for those of you at home, right? If you're like, oh man, Orisa looks interesting, I want to pull her out. Like, yeah, sure, go ahead, pull her out on hybrid, pull her out predominantly on escort, because that's where the peel really, really helps you. But oh man, not on Assault, man. Just play Reinhardt.
Unless they bring out an Assault with a lot of environmentals, right? I mean, Volskaya's got a couple of environmentals, but not really enough to warrant...
Yeah, not really in the right places, because
Yeah,
they're on like the back side of the point. So you have to like draw them around the back and then just boop them.
You
all
want
off.
Elios well, is kind of what you want. And that's when you might run.
I have seen that happen.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt that's probably one of the main places
It's been so great. Like, just, you get a good right click over the well. Even if you only catch one person, you're like, ha! And you can tell, like, they feel stupid because it came from behind them. Like, they saw it go past and they're like, oh, it's not going to hit me. And then, oh man.
Oh, look at that slider. This is some CSGO thing going
What up? Look at the surfing. Look at him go. This is incredible. With the arm up as well. Like, oh man. Monkey
love
business.
the Overwatch surfing going on. Monkey business.
So we're going to make a custom app there, just like Winston surfing on Volskaya.
Winston
surfing.
it's nice. That's a good one.
Well, Let's see if, speaking of Surf, let's see if Flash Wolves can kind of ride this wave out.
They are running Sombra, so here we go.
Yeah, there we go. Sombra indeed. And it is on Sinclair as well. So, like I said, all those questions we had, well, look, they need to actually figure out the Sombra. They need to really pull it off well. And then they need to pull it off against other teams as well. Don't get me wrong. So, already off to a good start, though. And, all right, sure, SunSister just... They just died. Now they're scattered. And there goes Mollis.
I mean,
and they've all got to go. We've got tanks, we've got DPSs, and they've all got to go.
More surfing.
He's not even playing the game. He's not even playing the game. He's just surfing.
He's got to master the surf on the roof.
Yeah. They need to figure out the Sombra defense, and they also need to master their Winston surfing.
All right, so EMP is ready to go here. This needs to be a really good engage from Flash Wolves. They haven't used it yet. They're kind of getting in there, but there it is now.
Oh yeah, there it is, and wow. Okay, so there was actually a couple of trades back though from SunSister. So they, you can tell, look, they really want to leverage this, but they can't even get Mollis into a position to find a hook, right? And that's all they would have needed. All they would have needed, they had a moment there, they had to been able to connect a hook onto, for example, Bacon Jack or Realment, then they would have just been able to secure that fight, because they'd already got Zonder and Sinclair out of the picture, but now, no such luck, and there's enough time for Flash Wolves to get back on this point, even though SunSister had the closer respawn. Zetman buying time on this point, but they're not getting kills, and none of the DPSs are really doing anything necessary to get the kills either. XQQ is forced off to the back of this fight.
Good sound barrier.
Yeah, that is a great sound barrier out of SunSister actually to negate out Zonder's blade, but he still finds one, and the rest of the team is going to start finding more.
This is a really pick-oriented lineup from SunSister as well. You're running a McCree and a Hog. You want to get those singular, or even, you want to get a couple of hero picks advantage-wise, and you should be able to, because you've got the exact kind of correct composition that will fish them out for you. But I think you're right, that they haven't found opportunities for Mollis to really be able to land a successful hook, and a successful hook is...
Does he actually...
He hasn't found anywhere to...
Okay, this is quite interesting actually. I've just had production inform me that that is a reset for Winston's jumps. That's actually intentional by Jongi there. So, yeah, that's interesting. So basically, what it does is it channels the jump, but it doesn't complete the jump, and then when the cooldown runs out, you can jump again, and when you land, it'll still have the damage from the first jump loaded, plus the damage from the jump you just started, so you actually get double fall damage. So you jump on top of the enemy team, you get double fall damage, so you aim it right and you land it on their DPS, and you can completely scatter them. Kind of. That's how it works in theory, I'm told. So that's actually quite interesting. And I mean, heck, it's working. Combining that with the Sombra, they seem to be really putting SunSister in disarray. This time though, SunSister on a bit of a better path.
Yeah, they are taking much better positioning here. Hook finally lands, but not securing any kills.
He's powered up and he's trying to get in there with the whole hog, but there's no one to hog. They all just kind of left.
That was a no hog.
It was a no hog, yeah. It wasn't even a half hog. I mean, you can slash those prices all you want, go the half or the whole or what have you, but there's just no one there. And tell you who was there was everyone. The moment Zonder pulled his blade out, they were like, yes. And there we go. That's going to be it for the first offense from SunSister and Flash Wolves. They're looking to make this one quick. They've got somewhere to be.
Zonder is a man that can't pass up a sale.
No, he really can't. It's like he got mugged, but they only took his library card. He's still got plenty of cash in his wallet, and he's off to the bargain bin.
Oh boy.
Yeah, like I said, man, Flash Wolves, they must have somewhere to be. Like they've got, I don't know, they got an appointment, they got a dinner reservation. Or something like that. So, I mean, that was an absolute shutout. Like at no point did I feel SunSister.
Zonder's got to keep to his stream schedule, so he's going to start that on time tonight.
Oh my god. Even when they were using their ultimates, at no point did I feel SunSister looked even close to actually contesting a fight.
I just really wanted to see them pull out a couple of successful hooks, maybe get some early kills in there, and leverage player advantage into an eventual cap out.
Yeah, but they didn't, so they lost.
Obviously, but I mean,
I know. I know what you're
I
saying,
wanted
though.
to see them execute the plan that they had in mind, because now it's not a case of, you know, we've given up. This is a plan that we have practiced. This is a plan that we know or should know how to execute. It's just unfortunate that when they finally, from our point of view anyway, got the hook onto Game Over on the Diva, it kind of just disconnected anyway. It was a bit lackluster, and then the nano boost onto the whole hog was again lackluster, except this time a lot more costly because you committed ultimates, 2 of them.
Yeah. And I mean, the unfortunate thing is it's almost looking like their mentality has completely fallen apart here. I mean, it's not like they don't know how to play these heroes. It's not like they don't know how to do these things, but they're just, you know, they're not even properly playing to their conditions.
Fun fact.
It's really unfortunate. This is a full flank team.
Yeah. Fun fact.
Everyone here can go over the edge.
Someone died.
Single die. The Widow miss.
Yeah,
But hold on.
hang on.
They can just take their time. They can just not give away the position and take their time.
Fun fact is Bacon Jack's favorite hero is actually Reaper, so he doesn't get to play it very much. And he finally gets to bring that one out. That is a dirty kill.
Hacks the health packs as well, so there isn't even somewhere for SunSister to pull back to as this attack starts to come through. Sinclair died again. This time at least it was to someone.
Yeah.
But in any case, Flash Wolves are still the ones with advantage here. They're the one, look at them, they're already just running circles around SunSister. They don't even know where to go for this defense.
Round 2.
And now again, onto the second support. This time he gets Knight out, then he translocates out, goes for the health pack if he needs it, and he comes back in for round 3. This is absolutely gross. Nothing SunSister can do about this. Now Flash Wolves go for the cleanup. Zonda is going to start buffering his stream setup already, because that is more than a 3-0. Like, that was... It was like SunSister wouldn't have been there for that last one. And then that wasn't even their fault. That was just a corny setup by Flash Wolves that paid off.
You gotta really respect Zonda's ability to just get there. Oh, here's a free kill. Because usually, because on Sombra...
That's what Blizzard wanted Sombra to be, right? Just this absolute harasser.
Oh, yeah, like that.
Well,
not like this, but like what we saw from Zonda. I mean, you get in there behind enemy lines with invisibility and mobility, and you just find a support, take them out. Unfortunately, what usually happens is